what women have learned from dating older men. I come from an era where I can remember where it was natural for men to open doors and to close doors for women, to wait on women, to take out flowers. Today, the world is completely different. I'm hearing many women say things like, I've never had my door open before, other than by an older man. Now, what women have discovered is that men who are decades older than they are come from a different tradition. Now, none of this means that the younger men are bad or are not considerate. It just means that they come from two different times. So the men are more programmed to treat you differently. A more modern man deals with a woman who acts more independently. An older man deals with a woman, she lets the man do certain things. And notice I said she allows it to happen because she's still relatively, as a younger woman, she's a modern woman in her own right. So it's like a coming together of time period, backgrounds and flavors and choices and decisions. But women say all types of things in regard to what it is that makes an older man very attractive to them. Women today want to be heard. They have a voice and they want to speak it. But then with the older man, sometimes hear from the younger woman is shouting and screaming. So this video is going to be about that type of relationship. Sometimes younger women just fight and scream, and see, the older men aren't traditionally used to that. See, you're going back in time. See, in the 70s and 80s, I just remember women have a lot more deep respect. But see, now things are more competitive. Some women that want that respect that men get. Well, you're dealing with two different types of people. To want the respect that men are receiving is a lot different than the respect that a woman should be receiving. Now, everybody should be respected at the highest level, but you are a man and then you are a woman. You're perceived different. You're different. Your requirements are different. Your desires are different. You're not the same people. So men being concerned, fellow feeling, love, things like this, these are the things men traditionally forget. Because we just go about our business, we get wrapped up into working. Women, on the other hand, they're dealing with a man, but they want him to pay attention to all of the things that she's doing. So many women find favor with older men who say, thank you. Wow, that was a great meal. As opposed to just leaving the dinner table and going to watch the latest sports show. It's a difference. It's a difference. But I'm not saying that these differences make younger men bad. I'm just saying these differences are why many younger women are seeking out older men. They want to be appreciated more. Appreciation is like the sugar to the soul. It feels good. And women want to be appreciated for their hard work because women do a lot. I speak to young men today because I do a lot of coaching. And some of the young men in their early 20s and early 30s, I ask them, I says, well, what kind of work does your dad do? Well, my dad's an engineer. Well, what kind of work does your mom do? They go, I'll say, well, what kind of work does your dad do? They say, my dad, well, he's an engineer. Well, what type of work does your mom do? Well, she doesn't do anything. Your mom does nothing, I say. Well, does she fix your food? Yeah. Okay. You still live at home, right? Okay. How old are you? 27. Okay. Does your mom, she wash your clothes? Yeah. Sometimes. Do you wash your clothes? Sometimes. Okay. Does your mom I can go on and on and on about what women do. And, traditionally we call them domestic engineer. Because if a man had to pay his woman for all the services that she provides, the majority of men could not afford to pay her because all of the professional services that women provide in the home are figure income. And if you're making like $40,000 or $50,000, which is generally the average income that a man in the United States has, if you're making that type of money, how can you pay a woman what she's worth? And so that's why the appreciation comes in with an older man. See, he may not have the money either to pay her because it's not a money grab, but he will show the respect. It's not that she does nothing. It's that she takes care of the house, because if the house is not taken care of, guess what? The man can't do his job. I mean, look, you go to work all day long and you come home and your house is in disarray. There's no food. You got to go back out. Then you're tired. The time is challenged. You may not get all the sleep that you need. You may not be able to do some of the other things that you set out to do. All this changes. But when the woman is taking care of you, when she's the domestic engineer and she's treating the home like a business and she's running it and she's getting things done, then everybody prospers. Or rather, there are lots of reasons why younger women are attracted to older men. Older men are very passionate, But then there's some negative things too, and very steadfast in their mindset. They don't like the change. They don't like the bend. Now, you could look at this as a negative, that the older man is set in his ways. Maybe she feels that way. But he's also set on her. His mind is not going to drift because he's seen over the years how those type of relationships just don't work. So he's focused on her. That's what she wants. Women like to be, pardon the expression, I can't think of a better way to say this, but some women just like to be worshiped. And guess what? Men like to worship their women in the sense that they just want to put her first and let her know her value. And older men love to tell a woman that it's not just you're beautiful, but I really appreciate the time that you allow me to have with you. See, it's that recognizing that she's allowing this. He's not taking anything from her. He's just realizing that her response is her allowing. And so he respects her. And she can't help but to respect this man who thinks of her in such a dignified way. His mind is one way focused. It's focused. Anything comes between that line, it's like a laser, just obliterates it. And she loves it. She loves it a lot. So yes, younger women have their reasons for wanting to be with older men. And it's a good reason. And the balance of all of this is that they just get along. But then you're going to have these people that are going to respond to this in a negative way. Now, and let me just put this out there. When we talk about older men and younger women, we're talking about men and women who have their brains solidified. Statistically, women's brains solidify around the age of 23. This is what we mean by they mature fast. And men's brains generally solidify between the ages of 25 and 28. So the older the man is closer to the age of 30, he becomes a better candidate. So we're not talking about a 30-year-old man dating a 19-year-old woman or a 40-year-old man dating a 19-year-old woman. We're talking about people who have their brains solidified. That's what this channel is about. So an older man could be 70 and his younger woman could be 50. The bottom line is he comes from a different tradition. He comes from a different background. And it's more respectful. If you go back hundreds and hundreds of years, the further you go back in time, people treat each other better and differently than they do today. So the younger woman is attracted by that level of kindness, that height of joy and peace and consideration. She's attracted to this. And the older man does it so naturally because that is his upbringing. So nothing, again, against the younger man, because we were all younger men. And the generations before us dealt with women and people differently as well in the family and in relationships. So we hope you enjoyed this video. And guess what we're going to talk about next? The next video coming up after this, we're putting it together now, is what have men learned from dating younger women. See you on the next video.